back as well, and we won't know until we're able to hopefully someday get some DNA or protein.
Continue on SFC 417 for 3 miles.
Some other kind of molecular evidence that would allow us to answer some of those questions.
And so as we look back in time, how far back would you consider our ancestors to be modern humans, the kinds of people who would get on the subway or could just be plopped into modern society, grow up in our schools and become a totally normal person?
Yeah, so it's hard to say where we draw that line, but I mean, one way to do it is to say our species, Homo sapiens, as we currently define it, right? So, paleoanthropologists who study human evolution, they give a species name to every fossil that they find, or every, piece of fossil that they can get a genome from. And so only those that are given the name Homo sapiens are technically our species as we currently consider it. So the way you could answer that is, how old is our species, Homo sapiens? And the answer is, yet again, that people debate this, but it's between 200,000 and 300,000 years old. So that's kind of the brackets on when are the earliest fossils that some people attribute to Homo sapiens. So somewhere in the 200 to 300,000 year old range, which again, I always say, to me, that's so recent. Our species is so new to this planet. That's yesterday in the perspective of evolutionary biology.
But just to underscore that, you're saying if you took a baby from 250,000 years ago and time traveled them into the future and were raised by a normal human family, it would be indistinguishable.
Well, there are some ways in which anthropologists distinguish between what they call archaic Homo sapiens and what they call anatomically modern Homo sapiens. These are getting into what I would consider to be pretty nuanced anatomical differences in skull shape and which features are slightly larger and these types of things. So this is the sort of splitting hairs part of doing this kind of science that can be challenging when you start to get into reading the research papers, but it's still Homo sapiens. So as far as I'm concerned, I think, that there's interesting, certainly, questions to ask about, what changes were taking place. Certainly there must have been some differences, even if it's cultural differences between the people living then and the people living today. But anatomically, physically, right? If you look at the skull of an early Homo sapiens and the skull of somebody from today, they're very similar. I mean, they're very, very much like us.
You'd have a beer with them.
I would, yeah.
I also feel like Daniel's question is laden with his assumption about what makes people human. Could they survive today in our modern era? And I think plenty of people would argue that's not the important thing about humans. It's, maybe social behavior or language or chins. One of our listeners said chins, and I don't understand the chin thing.
The chin thing is super interesting because it's one of the few physical features you can see in the fossils that distinguish Homo sapiens from other species. We are the only hominid that has a chin. So what did the chin do for us? I don't think anybody really has given a satisfying answer to that one. It seems to be an example of a trait that comes about through evolution, maybe just randomly and persists. Not all the traits have to have an adaptive value. It doesn't always have to be useful for something. They can just come about. But I do like my chin, so I'm glad we have them.
I like mine too. All right.
In a quarter mile, turn left.
That was fantastic, Scott. Thank you so much for telling us all about ancient humans. But you're not just interested in ancient humans. You're interested in ancient human evolution and future human evolution. So tell us about your upcoming book.
Yeah, well, I've been interested in the idea that humans are still evolving.
Take the next left.
For quite some time, right? So my first book, published in 2016, was called Future Humans: Inside the Science of Our Continuing Evolution, and that's all about the ways in which, natural selection and other
In a quarter mile, turn left onto SFC 433.
Evolutionary processes have continued until today. But then more recently, I've been exploring this one particular possibility for our evolutionary future, and that is what would happen if some of us left Earth and created settlements on other planets. Something.
In 800 feet, slide left onto SFC 435.
That you have also thought quite a bit about, Kelly. I know we've had lots of conversations about the idea of space settlement, and it's been super fun.
Take the next left onto SFC 435, then turn left onto SFC 433.
Our parallel careers. You're ants and space, and I'm parasites and space, and we're both in an evolution and ecology.
Turn left onto SFC 433.
sort of track and a space future of humans in space track. And anyway, it's always fun talking to you.
I guess that tells us that there's a lot of ways to get to space, huh?
That's right.
Continue on SFC 433 for 1 mile.
And so, yeah, I mean, so basically, I've spent the last several years doing a deep dive into this question of, if at some point people are successful in creating space settlements, what would that mean for the people living in those space settlements? Like, what would happen to the descendants of those first pioneers, those first settlers on, Mars or anywhere else for that matter? Questions like, could a baby born on Mars come back to Earth? And, would people gradually adapt to the conditions on that planet, and would they eventually become a new species of human? So, so the book is called Becoming Martian, How Living in Space Will Change Our Bodies and Minds. And it comes out February 17th of 2026. So super excited, and it's actually already available for pre-order if folks want to get a copy.
And I got to read it, and I can say that it's amazing. And it starts with a foreword by astronaut Scott Kelly, which is the Wienersmiths didn't snag an astronaut foreword. So bravo. Not that the Wienersmiths are, a bar against which anyone should judge themselves, but I was pretty excited you got an astronaut foreword.
Well, thank you. No, I was too. That was a real wonderful thing that Scott Kelly agreed to contribute a foreword. And but you and Zach actually helped tremendously with this book, both in terms of sharing ideas and notes and reading, draft copies and support all along the way. So super appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Yay space and yay Scott. Okay, so everyone should pick up Becoming Martian, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks everyone.
Thanks for having me on again.
Daniel and Kelly's Extraordinary Universe is produced by iHeartRadio. We would love to hear from you.
We really would. We want to know what questions you have about this extraordinary universe.
We want to know your thoughts on recent
In 1,000 feet, turn left onto Eddie Hill Road.
shows, suggestions for future shows. If you contact us, we will get back to you.
We really mean it. We answer every message. Email us at questions@danielandkelly.org.
Or you can find us on social media. We have accounts on X, Instagram, Blue Sky.
Take the next left onto Eddie Hill Road.
And on all of those platforms, you can find us at D&K Universe.
Don't be shy. Write to us.
The holidays with family and kids, magical, but let's be honest,
Continue on Eddie Hill Road for 1.5 miles.
a little chaotic. That's why I use AirTasker to find local help for decorating, cleaning, and wrapping gifts. I even booked someone to play our family elf. Download the AirTasker app or go to airtasker.com. AirTasker, get anything done.
Honestly, no one wants to think about HIV, but there are things that everyone can do to help prevent it. Things like PrEP. PrEP stands for pre-exposure prophylaxis, and it means routinely taking prescription medicine before you're exposed to HIV to help reduce your chances of getting it. PrEP can be about 99% effective when taken as prescribed. It doesn't protect against other STIs though, so be sure to use condoms and other healthy sex practices. Ask a healthcare provider about all your prevention options, and visit findoutaboutprep.com to learn more. Sponsored by Gilead.
Then, the space hamster flew his hot air balloon all the way to the bottom of the ocean.
Where did that story come from? Book? Dream? Nope, it came from a conversation. Meet Miko Mini Plus, the AI companion that co-creates personalized story adventures with your child in real time.
What color was the hamster's cape? And what did he pack for lunch?
Unlock your child's imagination. Discover Miko Mini Plus and the magic of AI exclusively at Costco.
The only thing between you and your best self is the start button. This Black Friday, explore the world with Nordic Track. From the peaks of Peru to the streets of Paris, every workout moves you somewhere new with iFit trainers leading the way. The equipment's amazing, smooth, quiet, and those screens make it all feel real. Ready to start your next workout adventure with the #1 treadmill brand in the US? Shop NordicTrack.com for Black Friday savings. Nordic Track. Train anywhere, explore everywhere.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Hello and good morning, it's Alan Lear and this is of course Tech and Science Daily. If you're currently wedged between a backpack and someone's prep flat white on the Jubilee line, deep breaths, we're going to get you to your stop. As always, for your latest news, go to standard.co.uk. On the show, London questions the rise of skinny jabs, new UK satellites head to orbit to connect remote sensors, and a huge physics claim that dark matter may finally have shown its face. let's start with City Hall, where the London Assembly's Health Committee is digging into the boom in weight loss injections, often nicknamed skinny jabs. A hearing at the chamber in City Hall today
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Arkansas 284 West.
is looking at how Londoners are getting hold of these GLP-1